Hello everyone, welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfold, and another week is upon us, another week of drama and soap opera. Now normally I'll start things off with earnings, but that's probably not the biggest thing for the week. Of course, over the last week and even on the weekend, we had this drama between two very powerful people, Elon Musk and President Trump. Now, this will probably continue as this spat gets uglier and uglier. It may mean that the overall markets have extreme volatility. It may also mean that specific companies associated with Elon Musk either get a big surge up or big move down. Either way, I would expect there to be some significant increase in volatility on things like Tesla, and therefore those of you who are options traders, some even better opportunities there. Now, let's dive into our normal routine after we get away from this soap opera and move into the earnings calendar. There is not that many companies reporting this week, but we'll start right at the very beginning. 98 companies. You got Casey's General Store and then VinFast, which I quizzed you guys last month, and some of you did very well. Only 2 to 3% of the total float of all of VinFast shares are on the market. Just let that sink in for a second. 2 to 3% of all the shares. So that means that 97% of all of the shares of VinFast are held privately, not even on the open market yet. Ooh, that could get pretty ugly down the road for anybody who's a VinFast holder. Now, let's move on to your Tuesday earnings. It gets a little bit bigger here. You've got Oracle, Dave & Buster's, and GameStop. That's moved from last Friday to this Tuesday. On Wednesday, we've got Chewy. Thursday, you've got Adobe. And that, my friends, is it for the earnings calendar. Now, where do we go from here? The earnings are okay, nothing really that special, and there probably won't be a market driver in there, maybe a specific market segment like Oracle. However, last week we had the unemployment rate, and that number came out at 4.2%. Remember, these numbers of unemployment and inflationary data are going to get more and more important as the weeks roll on. And of course, we have another Fed meeting coming up on June 18th, and that is very important as well. So what might drive Jerome Powell's decisions at this FOMC meeting, or at least the team there on the FOMC? Well, of course, we're back to the inflation data. So let's dive right into that. We've got consumer price index numbers coming out on Tuesday. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's 1 hour before the markets open. And as you can see here, right now, the previous number is 0.2%. All expectations are that we're going to come out right at that same number, so no change there, which I guess would be a good thing because annualized, that would be 2.4% inflation. But the big change looks like it's going to happen on the producer price index, which happens on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time as well. And you can see the previous two readings have been showing under zero, meaning there is deflationary pressure. Prices are actually dropping for producers. Well, it's interesting when we have this separation between the producer price index and consumer price index. As you can see, PPI is dropping, which means producer prices are getting lower, but consumers are still paying higher prices, which means the profits for these companies will probably get better and better and better. What's the expectation for the upcoming reading? Well, that is going from a negative 0.5, as you can see there, to a 0.2 positive number. It's a big swing. That's a big swing indeed. Back above positive is the expectation there. Now, I normally don't talk about the University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers. It was something that many years ago, back in the late 90s when I started trading, traders around me said it's really important and I have to understand what it is and what it represents. But I'll be honest, it never really felt like there was that much to it. I didn't feel like there was a lot of weight to it. However, it's starting to feel like it's getting better and better as a guide of emotional sentiment. And emotional sentiment is what drives demand, consumption. If I don't feel good about the economy, I'm probably going to spend less. If I feel optimistic, I throw caution to the wind and max out those credit cards. So what is the University of Michigan consumer sentiment number saying now? Well, let's take a peek. That number happens Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And, it'll be good, bad, or ugly, right? What's it going to be? The previous number was 52.2, and right now the expectations are that we're going to come out at 52.5 for that consumer sentiment. Now, that's not a high number. Really, anything above 50 means optimism, but 52.5, that's not really that optimistic. But that's not the important piece of data that I'm looking for the week. It's actually something called inflation expectations. That number comes out at the exact same time, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Your inflation expectations are coming out, and this is a survey to see what people think about inflation and where it's headed. Take a peek at this chart. This shows you that the expectations by the market is that inflation is going to surge. Right now, the expectations are we're going to come out at 6.6%. Well, that is a significant increase in what we saw in December of last year, which is about 2.7%. Right now, 6.6 is a pretty lofty one. And remember, inflation is something that the Fed has to work very hard to get under control. And now they're balancing this unemployment rate, jobs, we have inflation, and of course, President Trump and Jerome Powell going at it with regards to what should you do. All I know is it will be a very dramatic week, and I think that might be overshadowed by the Elon Musk, President Trump controversy or drama that's being thrown at us right now. But as with all things, that will pass, and it does represent opportunity for you and I. So really for this week, we do have quite a bit of stuff to look at. You have consumer price index, you got producer price index, you got some decent earnings out there. You got inflation expectations. It's going to be a pretty fun trading week. So I hope you all have a great trading week, and I look forward to seeing you on next week's Monday Morning Must Knows.